Thank you, Mayor. I have a deep regard for our police officers and our police chief, and I've gone back and forth on which way I was going to go with this, but I do want to take your advice seriously and make sure that we have our the things that you ask for. However, I am still very concerned about this whole message that we're sending to the public, that there is no emergency. There's no riots in the streets. It's not a disaster per se, as when people would imagine what the word emergency signifies. But there is an urgency to get stuff done. There's an urgency that I see that won't be fixed by what we're doing today. We have been talking for years on many different ideas that we've presented to the police union. And I'd like to see a lot more progress being made. One of the things, there's none of us up here believe that believe that the department is overstaffed. We all believe that we're understaffed. We all believe that our officers are overworked. So that there's no argument with that presentation, and the fact that you need to do what you need to do is not where I want to argue with you at all. What I want to see is a lot more progress on the things that we've presented the police union in the past come to fruition, things that could have avoided this declaration. And I'm gonna call it the urgency, because I don't, that the word emergency doesn't fit. This urgency that we're doing here today could have been avoided if we had done some things long ago. But that being said, we're at this point, let's do something now. Let's do, Paul Kelly came up here and said that the PSRP idea was a good idea. We actually presented that 3 years ago, and it was dead on arrival when we first presented it. And now we have some working ideas on how it's going to get accomplished. What's to stop us from signing a side letter today and getting that across the finish line so that we can, in 3 months from now, start retaining some of our retirees that are planning on retiring? I sit on the Public Safety and Finance Committee, and every month you tell me, you testify in front of that committee, that we have 5 officers, 10 officers, 7 officers retiring this month. If we were able to retain just 10% or 15% of them, maybe this problem could be avoided. But let's not talk about what could have been done. Can I get a commitment from the police union to sign this letter today? If they agree on it, why not get it done today?
Before I turn it over to Jennifer Shembri, I just wanted to say, Councilmember, one of the things as we rebuild this police department, we're going to have to do it in several ways. We're going to have to keep our people here. We are going to have to stymie retirements. We're going to try to bring some people back that want to come back. And then finally, we need to recruit. We need to address all of those. And although, the PSRP program will definitely mitigate some of this crisis, it certainly would not have fixed the entire crisis. But having said that, just specifically with moving forward on it, I'd like to have Jennifer comment.
Yes, Councilmember Khamis. So the PSRP program, just want to clarify, is a very kind of complicated program, a lot of technical issues with it, tax-related issues, retirement-related issues. We have been talking to the POA about it in general concept terms for a little bit. They've only had the technical side letter for a couple months on that. And we're just entering into negotiations with them, and we actually meet with them tomorrow. We're happy to sit down and talk about any questions they may have. They did send me some questions. We responded to them. So I'm hopeful we can get across the goal line soon, but it's not something I think that any of us would want to kind of rush through or have signed right now without having a conversation about it.
Well, my only goal here is to make sure that we can preserve our police force. And 6 months from now, if we're still talking about PSRP and then we're talking about only 400 people that are around to patrol our streets, we will look like idiots for not signing on the dotted line today, is what I'm trying to say. Let's stave off future potential problems by getting things done. And that is my biggest frustration. When I first came to City Council, we were talking about how we didn't have any cooperation with our police unions. In fact, our police union, was working to recruit our officers away to other jurisdictions. Now, we've worked together on many, many different things, and I feel that we are working in the spirit of cooperation here. We have put something on the ballot to fix to make our department much more competitive. We have gone forward and did many steps that we hope will provide the confidence for our police to know that we care about them and we want them to stay here. We have given them back the 10% pay reduction, the voluntary pay cut that they took. We've given them some increases in pay as well. Yes, we're not as competitive as other departments, but I like to think that our department is hands down one of the best departments to work for other reasons other than pay. And I know that a lot of our officers actually get promoted and get a lot of learning on the job that they wouldn't in say Los Altos Hills, where they just patrol the streets and do not much else. Would you say that there are other things besides just pay that are good reasons to work for the SJPD?
Absolutely, there's good reasons to work for us besides pay. I mean, there's no doubt about it that there are definite things that we do here that other agencies don't do. But we're missing that final piece that would put us up and above and beyond other agencies, and that piece is benefits and compensation. If we had that, we definitely would be above the rest.
Well, I'm like I said, I've been here. We've been slowly working to restore the pay, and every year that I've been here, I've voted to increase pay for all employees pretty much. And luckily, the times are with us that we can actually afford to restore pay. Previously, we didn't have the luxury to be more competitive than other departments. And I wasn't around when they were laying off city employees, and I didn't have to make any of these hard cuts. So I can't comment to how other people voted. But this $7,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 bonus or referral fee that we also suggested should be a no-brainer. And I know the police union president came out and said he can't let this go to his rank and file. Why not? Just because he doesn't want to recruit people doesn't mean that any other officer wouldn't want to see some of their friends come back. And I don't understand why that. And maybe Paul Kelly can explain that to me if he's willing to come up and say that. My whole goal here, I want to be clear, is to restore our police force. And these are some of what I have been thinking are no-brainers, if you will.
So I think there's probably a few things you want addressed. Is, I guess, your first question, why the incentive program we have to wait on? Is that I think. Well, why not now? Why not
yes,
today?
Why not? I understand that it takes months and months to get it set up. I agree.
Yeah.
But if we sign the paperwork today, we can focus on how to go forward with it rather than when we're going to wait until the signatures are the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed before we can go and talk to the pension boards and say, hey, we need to know how much this will cost and blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I can answer. I'd like to first say we're in support of that. At the table, we absolutely believe there should be an incentive and there should be more of an incentive. So I want to say that first. We're not against it. We've never been against it. Anytime that we can assist the officers that we have to pay them more while there's negotiations going on, we'd like to talk about it, and we're for it. To follow up with that, it would be absolutely immoral and unethical for us to sign a document now, right now, without Measure F getting over the line and knowing that when we're recruiting Tier 2 people into this agency saying it's the worst Tier 2 across the nation, there's no disability protections, we just can't do that. We're here to look after not only our members, but the people that we do want here, and we do want people to come here. And you know, believe me, when I heard you say that I don't want people, I don't want to recruit people, that's absolutely the opposite. But we have to take it a step at a time when it comes to this incentive, because what we're asking our officers to do is go bring our people back. Go get new officers. But we don't know what's really going to happen at the end. Are you going to have this tier 2? Are you going to have the protections and that safety net that you need? So that's I guess a simple but also a complex issue.
Well, we do have a tier 2, and there are some police officers that have currently agreed to join the force, and I'm sure that they're aware when they join the force of what they were signing up for, if you will. And some people chose to join the force anyway. And so my hesitation here is that I'd like to see that cooperation where, you know, I know that you're making this assumption that people may not want to come back, but let them have the opportunity to choose. And yes, we were all in agreement. I put my name on the ballot on the Measure F statement as a pro Measure F person. So we're up here. We're doing all we can to make sure that we are more competitive. But what I'd like to see is you tell people that we're working to straighten out our competitiveness, and this is a great department to work for, and that's what I'd like to see. And I don't feel that we have to wait until November to get that across the finish line.
Well, I don't know if I completely agree with you, but I can say this: it is a great department to work for, and we do want people to come here. I specifically am talking about this incentive, and you know, there will be a time and a place as we work through these next couple months and passing Measure F that we are arm in arm, and we are saying that because I do believe we need to. I can tell you right now that there are a ton of emails and phone calls I've got from the people who have left, and they do want to come back. There are people that are hesitant to come here because of the cloud in the past and the unknown of Measure F now. And, you know, we were all hoping, I think we were done this summer with a bow on it. And then we're open for business, right? I know we were all hoping that and working together. But knowing that they want to come back, it's really a personal decision for every single person, a lateral or someone new to come in and really eyes wide open to what they have. And that's a decision that, you know, I don't get into weeds with them. They ask certain questions. I tell them where we're at, and then they make the decision to come or not. Because we have had people come back.
Again, I'm not here to disagree with you on as long as people are well informed. That's all I care about.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, I don't know what's going to happen in November. But in the meantime, it's our responsibility as elected officials, and I think your responsibility as well, to make sure that we're moving forward in a way that we can rebuild the department. And if this measure fails by some chance, who knows if it does or not? Then what are we going to tell our citizens? We give up. You know what? I mean, you obviously we have hesitation of outsourcing. When we talked about, like, for example, outsourcing the airport, and we don't want, if this measure fails in some way, then where are we? Are you guys planning for that? Are we planning on giving up our police department just because? I mean, what's the end result?
Yeah, I know. We're not going to give up our police department, and you know, do we have to look at all avenues and absolutely know that no matter what, even with Measure F passing or not passing, that we're in it, and we're in it to stay together and do whatever we can to keep the city safe? Yes, the answer is yes. I mean, wholeheartedly. And I can tell you that we have been, you know, I'm getting the message from you that you really feel we haven't been working together as a city team and a city government with the association in regards to making it better, getting ready to, you know, recruit more, retaining the officers we have. That's all we talk about. So it's truly, I think, just maybe the message isn't getting to you, but absolutely that's what we're doing.
Well, I have to say that it's a current message that I got under yours and Paul's leadership that I had not been getting in the past. So it's a welcome change, and I have to say that thank you for doing that. But I prefer to see us work faster and work with contingency plans rather than hope for the best in November. I'd rather see us work forward quickly and immediately.
I absolutely can tell you we're doing it. We're doing it at the table. We're doing it as the teams sit across from each other, and that's just a fact. It's happening.
I'm like I said, I'm going to support this, but I will urge you to please, some of the low-hanging fruit, and there's 22, 26 things, I forgot how many things that we have that can actually better the department. Yeah. 26 things, let's get some of these things ticked off. Some of them are low-hanging fruit. I would think that the $7,000 bonus is a low-hanging fruit, personally. You may not agree, but I'd like for you to give it to the people on your committee to
Rick?
decide.
Yeah. I just, this has been going, and I just want to caution that we're getting dangerously close to negotiating from the dais. It belongs to the bargaining table. That's just not the best practice. That's also the council policy, and I think it's fine to have general conversations, but I don't want to, and I don't think you guys want to get into a negotiation here.
No.
Okay. Well, I'll stop my discussion and just by encouraging you to please help us move as fast as possible to helping the police department.
You did ask us a direct question also on the PSRP program. I think your negotiator said that we're making progress on that. We received correspondence that program cannot be implemented till January 17 would be the earliest that could happen. We're in the process of doing that. It looks like we're on track to do that, but to be very clear, it's not appropriate to negotiate these things from the dais. And from what it sounded like, you asked for something in return for your vote on this particular issue, and I don't need to tell you that that's not an appropriate thing to happen either. We are working hard, but we can't trade you something here at the dais for your vote on this issue today.
I am not trading anything. In fact, I set out at the beginning saying that I was going to vote the one direction at the very, very beginning, and I never insinuated that I was trading my vote for anything. I'll be clear on that. I want to do whatever I can to help the chief and help the police force, and these are discussions that should be had. And I feel like I need to air some of these things out so that we can actually work harder on getting them across the finish line.
Councilmember, just real quick, just in response to one of your points when we were talking.
Chief, I want to clarify also for the record, I did hear Councilmember Khamis